Everyone, I'm Darwin Goodspeed. I'm the director of the VA Portland Healthcare System, and it's my honor to welcome you all to our guest of honor, the family of the Robert D. Maxwell, the Honorable Greg Walden, U.S. Representative from Oregon 2nd District, Redmond Mayor George Endicott, State Representative Tim Canope, Sheriff Shane Nelson, Leroy Arthur Perry, U.S. Army retired Congressional Medal of Honor recipient for his actions in Afghanistan. James Allen Taylor, U.S. Army retired and Congressional Medal of Honor recipient for his actions in Vietnam. J.W. Terry, United States retired President, Band of Brothers, Executive Director, Central Oregon Veterans Outreach. Jacob Engler, from the Office of Senator Ron Wyden. B.J. Westland, Office of Senator Jeff Merkley, and David Tobiasen, a Ben veteran with the Ben Heroes Foundation, who played a key role in getting this clinic named for Mr. Maxwell. The Ben Clinic, the Robert D. Maxwell VA Clinic, is the second in our healthcare system to be named for a Medal of Honor recipient. The first was the Dallas Clinic in 2016, named for World War II veteran Lauren R. Kaufman. The current Ben Clinic opened in January of 2013, providing the most extensive veteran services outside of the Vancouver-Portland area, and it relocated from across the street, increasing from 10,000 to 25,000 square feet in its current location. According to the Ben Heroes Foundation, 27 Medal of Honor recipients are connected with Oregon. All were either killed in action or passed away since receiving the Congressional Medal of Honor. Mr. Robert Maxwell passed away just a few months ago, and today, October 26th, would have been his 100th birthday. At that time, he was the oldest living Medal of Honor recipient. We are honored to have this clinic named after him. At this time, I want to introduce members of the Ben Band of Brothers who are presenting the colors today. For those who are able, please stand for the invocation given today by a friend of Mr. Maxwell, Mike Yunker, then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Colonel Brock.
Let's pray. Father, it is good. It's good to be here this morning with friends and family. Bob's, Lord, I just know in my heart that Bob and me both would be so proud to see family and friends in a community come together under your umbrella, to know that this would be a place where people can find healing, hope. Lord, knowing Bob and his gentle spirit, Lord, I can't think of a better place that people could come and know that they're lovable and have love to give and can be cared for. So God, we just ask that over this next period of time, you keep our hearts and minds open. Thank you, we love you, and it's in your name we pray. Amen.
And the brother. And hut.
Good morning. I'm Mike Brock.
And hard.
For those of you that are veterans, it's appropriate to salute. All others will place your hand over your heart and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two. Just a quick comment. I met Bob when we first started our Veterans Day parade again. I didn't even know who he was. And they just said, "Won't you meet Bob Maxwell?" And I said, "Okay, fine." And all of a sudden I realized who I was standing in front of. And I had the JROTC program at that time, and from then on we would have Bob come to the kids at school and talk to them every couple of years. So his legacy today is having a building named after him, but his legacy for the kids in the JROTC program is he's alive and somebody that they can relate to personally. And it was an honor to have myself be associated with Bob Maxwell. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Tom Marple. I'm the Vice President of the Bend chapter of the Oregon Band of Brothers. And it's an honor to be here this afternoon to participate in this ceremony to dedicate the Bend Veterans Administration Medical Clinic to the memory of our friend and brother, Robert Maxwell. It's good to see you all here, family of Bob Maxwell, so many friends and brothers of Bob Maxwell from our local veterans community. As you've heard, we have a number of esteemed dignitaries with us today to speak on this occasion. And while I could talk for hours about Bob and what he has done for our community and what he meant to me, I am not one of those speakers. I just feel that I have to say on behalf of our veterans community, what a great privilege it was for all of us to have known Bob and how much he was admired. He was an inspiration to us all, and we will miss him. At this time, it's my honor to introduce our first speaker, B.J. Westland, from the Office of Senator Merkley.
Hello, I'm B.J. Westland. I'm Senator Merkley's Central Oregon Field Representative, and I am here to read a statement on his behalf. Greetings. Thank you all for being here to share in this moment honoring a true American hero, Robert D. Maxwell. Mr. Maxwell's life is a testimony to the power of selflessness and dedication to serving a cause bigger than oneself, lessons that couldn't be more important today. His list of accolades and accomplishments is impressive. In World War II, he served with distinction and was awarded a Bronze Star, 2 Purple Hearts, and a Silver Star with an oak leaf cluster. He was also the recipient of the nation's highest military award, the Congressional Medal of Honor, after he put his own life on the line to shield his fellow soldiers from an enemy grenade, saving their lives. After the war, he moved to Oregon and continued to serve his community by teaching auto mechanics at Bend Senior High School, Central Oregon College, and Lane County Community College. His service even continued into his retirement when he established the Character Development Program at Bend Senior High School and also served as the director of the Bend Heroes Foundation, where he helped his fellow veterans and established the Bend Heroes Memorial, the World War II Veterans Historic Highway, the Oregon Medal of Honor Highway, and the Bend Parade of Flags. I met Mr. Maxwell when I served as Speaker of the Oregon House of Representatives and was honored to have led the legislation in the U.S. Senate that has renamed this facility in his honor. I would like to thank the City of Bend, the Bend Heroes Foundation, the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and disabled American veterans for providing letters of support and encourage the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee to approve the legislation to make this renaming possible. While we will never be able to fully thank Mr. Maxwell for his service to our nation, both on and off the battlefield, my hope is that this renaming will help ensure that his legacy will be remembered and that his courageous and generous spirit will continue to inspire Oregonians for generations to come. Thank you again for attending today's ceremony and for all that each of you are doing to keep Mr. Maxwell's memory alive. All my best, Senator Jeff Merkley.
It is now my pleasure to introduce a good friend and president of the Band of Brothers and executive director of Central Oregon Veterans Outreach, J.W. Terry, Master Chief, U.S. Navy retired.
Good afternoon, everybody. I promised I'd keep this under 45 minutes, so bear with me. To the Maxwell family, thank you. It's a real honor to be one of the speakers today. I'm not going to speak of all the accolades of Robert D. Maxwell. It wasn't Robert D. Maxwell to me, he was Bob. And Bob and I used to have some quite a few conversations and he mentored me through the years. I couldn't do all the things that I do today without talking to somebody like him. I worked with Colonel Brock in the JROTC program for years. I had just checked in. My first day at Mountain View High School was 9/11. If you can imagine that for beginning of your work at some place. When we did the parade, that was the first parade that Bend was redoing their Veterans Day parade, and that's when I met Bob too. He never introduced himself as Bob Maxwell Medal of Honor winner. It was Bob, the teacher, and we were teachers, so it was easy to communicate with him. There was many times that I called Bob in the evening, or he'd call me, and we talk about some type of veterans issue. That was prior to Where's Dick? That was prior to when Dick became his manager or whatever. Bob and my relationship was a lot different. So I'd like to tell a couple of the Bob stories that I know, and you youngsters in the crowd are going to have to cover your ears. I'm a raggedy-butted old Master Chief, and I like to tell some stories veterans-wise. So if I go like this, cover your ears, and I can finish the story. Bob wasn't a big swear around groups or even around us, you know. So when he did, it really got your attention of what the heck was that? Because that's coming out of Bob's mouth. I went to visit him down here when he was rehabbing, and I get to the door, I have my uniform on, I'd left the office. This nurse says to me, and I think she was a gunny or a command sergeant major somewhere, but she goes, "You, stop right there." And I was right at the door getting ready to knock to come into his apartment. And Bob was sitting on the bed, and I couldn't figure out what he was doing, but they had those things that you stick down and you pull your socks on. He was having a heck of a time with it. And he sees me and he starts to smile, and she goes, "You, keep working on those socks." And he looked at her, and then he looked at me, and he keeps working, and I could hear him muttering, and all of a sudden he goes, well, like this. He goes, "God damn it." And I'd never heard him use that word before. And all of a sudden he has one of them on. And he looks at her and he smiles and he said, "Now?" And she said, "Nope, the other one." So he gets the other one on and he goes, "Damn, can I see my friend now?" And so she said, "Yes, come in." And we were all laughing by that time. And I sit down and she said, "When you do that 24 more times, you can go back to your own house." That was Bob Maxwell, and he always had this twinkle. And when you seen that twinkle hit his eyes, you knew something was coming. You didn't know what it was, but you knew it was coming. And I always loved that about him. The other story that I'd like to tell about this morning is my wife and I come out of Walmart. And by the way, I'm celebrating my 56th year of marriage today. And I'll be darned if she didn't call me a little while ago, and she wants to go out to dinner tonight. And it was just 20 years ago I took her to McDonald's, and here she wants to go out again. Women, you can't figure them out. No joke, I'm not going to take her up again. So we come out of Walmart, and we start down the aisle where we park the car, and I look down there, and about 3/4. If you've ever been to Walmart here in Bend, you know they're not short aisles, they're pretty good long aisles. And here's Bob Maxwell and B. And she's on his arm, hanging onto his arm, looking up at him, and he's walking along. So Katie and I get down there to where they're at, and I go, "Bob, lose your car?" And here come the twinkle. And he goes, "No, B and I are just out for a stroll." And in the Walmart parking lot, right? And so I go, "Oh, okay." And we take about 2 steps, and he said, "Oh, by the way, JW, if you see our car, would you let me know where it's at?" And that was Bob Maxwell. You know, he was that kind of guy. And there were evenings that I would stop by and see him, and him and I would talk veterans issues. And it's nice that there's a ton of programs and everybody wants to do this or that. What he and I talked about was Band of Brothers and veterans organizations, and how we could help our elderly vets that are stuck in an apartment by themselves, living on very limited income. How do we help those? And that's where Band of Brothers, all chapters, started going to work. And when we find, Mark Wurges is back here, these guys here, when we find somebody like that, we go to work to try to do everything we can to make the rest of their life as nice as possible as we can for them. That was the legacy. That was my friend Bob. That's what he taught me. And he taught me to be a quiet, shy, well, no, he didn't teach me that, but he did teach me to, with our JROTC kids, when they found out, first of all, that he passed away, I got emails and texts from all over the world. When they found this was happening, once again I got texts, and they remembered, and he taught me something. To our young people, listen to what they have to say. They appreciate what we have to say, but listen with open ears to what they have to say. And Bob did that very, very well with all these youngsters. They remember him very fondly, and that Bob Maxwell listened to him. And with that, I'm going to let it roll to somebody else. Thank you very much.
And now, it is a great privilege to introduce our next guest, Medal of Honor recipient, Leroy Petrie, United States Army, retired.
Good afternoon. Thank you to everyone who helped make this possible, setting this up under the current COVID conditions, and all of you coming out during this time to be here with all of us to celebrate such a great moment. I too, one thing I learned of the officers appointed me over in the Army is that nobody ever complained about a short speech, so I kind of wrote things out, so I got to stick to it. Bob's family, thank you for allowing me to be here. Friends, Jim, our recipient, thank you for making the long travel down here, up here, and other distinguished guests. I'm honored to be here with you all today to celebrate Robert Maxwell and Bob, as many of his fortunate friends came to know him, including myself. Today we celebrate not only his 100th birthday, but a lifetime of service and dedication, with the birth of a legacy to carry on his name and his memory of his impeccable dedication to others and his lifelong commitment for hundreds of years to come. Beautiful facility. I am amazed. I'm glad it's such a beautiful thing as he was. I was looking at the book over there earlier, and I stated, I think I told Bonnie, I said, man, I saw a young picture of him, and I said, he's always been handsome. His actions in combat and service in uniform were that of a hero. His life after followed suit. His always comforting smile and willing to teach, inspire, and guide with his soft-spoken words left everyone that came to know him with a positive, lasting impression of who he was as a person, a citizen, a teacher, a leader, a family man, and a friend. I didn't get as much time with Bob as I would have liked to, as I'm sure most would say it's impossible to hold on to something we truly admire forever. My memories, though, I will forever cherish. I was always drawn to him like a magnet when the opportunity arose to sit and talk, listen, and just be next to him. He had this unexplainable glow around him that when you were beside him, you felt the warmth, the comfort, and the happiness within yourself. So today, I am proud of the recognition of this clinic in his name, with this VA community-based outpatient clinic, because that is exactly how patients deserve to feel when they receive care at this facility. And although as an auto mechanic teacher for many years, Bob would understand that that job has become even more important, as one can't even see the engine under the hood of many of today's modern vehicles. But one thing has not changed: the care for others and fixing them, just like their cars, to keep them running till the wheels fall off. The staff that works here can do so with pride, knowing that they are representatives of something great, and the bar is set high for them to give 110% every day to the men and women of this community that walk through these doors, because they are Bob's friends, and he'd expect nothing less. I'd like to thank Bob's family for giving me this amazing opportunity to be here with you all today and honor a man I respect, honor, and love. Thank you. Rangers lead the way.
Thank you, Leroy, for your remarks and for being here today. Our next guest speaker, and our last guest speaker, not our least, but our last, is our own Congressman, Greg Walden. Greg, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. It's a real distinct honor and pleasure to be here, and especially to be in the company not only of the Maxwell family, but also of 2 other Medal of Honor recipients. Thank you for your gallantry, for your valor, for your courage, and for being such great representatives of the men and women in uniform, and for those who did not come home. We are deeply honored to have you both here. Darwin, I want to thank you and your team here at the clinic for the great job that you do taking care of our veterans. I did note that you pointed out there's only 2 clinics named for Medal of Honor recipients, Lauren Kaufman in the Dalles, and now this one for Bob Maxwell. I can't help but point out they're both in the 2nd Congressional District. You're raising life. And of course, it's an honor to be here to celebrate Bob's birthday, I guess, right? Be 100 today. Hard to believe. And importantly, the naming of this clinic. Senator Merkley and Senator Wyden and I worked together on this to get it done and into law. And we have a copy of the red line of the actual law itself framed, which we will be giving to the clinic. And then later today, we have another copy for the family that includes the pen President Trump used to sign it in the law. So we'll be making that presentation later today. Unfortunately, he only uses like 1 pen, so I don't have one for everybody. But you know, it's as you all know, Bob was actually from Boise, but later ended up in Bend. When Pearl Harbor occurred, he knew it was his duty and his privilege to join the U.S. Army. Although he had extensive combat training, Bob served in non-combat situation running cable. He was a wireman. As an old broadcaster, I kind of like these wireman guys. They called him the wireman. One of my favorite stories, and I'm sure you all have heard it, or most of you have, that Bob used to share, was when one time he was outside the camp stringing up part of the wire that was, he kind of forgot or wasn't made aware that he needed a password to get back inside the camp. And when he came back to the camp, the guard yelled out, "Maxwell!" Bob responded, "Yes, that's me." The guard called out, "Maxwell!" Again, waiting for the countersign, Bob said, "Yeah, it's me. You know me. I'm the wireman." The guard clicked his M1, making Bob aware he was now in a bit of trouble. "I don't know the countersign. It's me, the wireman," Bob yelled. Finally, the guard realized it was Bob and let him through. It was then that I think Bob probably realized that it was important to know the countersign. His countersign for Bob Maxwell was house, as in Maxwell House. Somebody told me too that somebody suggested he should have been a paratrooper, and he said, "Well, why would they want me to be a paratrooper?" I said, "Well, Maxwell, you'd be good at the last drop." I don't know if that's true or not. Leroy, I really liked how you spoke about Bob. There was that twinkle in the eye, that warmth in the heart, that feeling when you were around him, just of, I don't know, it was just a calm. It was a calm, it was an uplifting feeling, and what a terrific man. The gallantry of America's oldest Medal of Honor recipient was so well known, throwing his unprotected body on a German hand grenade to protect his comrades in World War II. And I know Leroy knows a little something about hand grenades. During the Battle of Anzio, Bob was hit by shrapnel from a German 88, tore open a severe gash in his leg. He then walked back to the battalion headquarters, walked back, maintained his post, keeping critical communications open throughout the night and following morning. When the CO arrived the next morning, I'm told, he said he thought Bob had already gone to the field hospital, which of course he hadn't. Bob explained he felt it was important to stay there and keep the communications going. The commanding officer ordered him to go to the field hospital. However, Bob was unable to find a ride to the hospital, so despite the large wound in his leg, he just walked the 5 miles to the hospital. When the CO heard this, he recommended Bob for the Silver Star. Later during the war, Bob was at a battalion headquarters when a grenade suddenly cleared the wire. And that's when he knew he had to quickly decide what to do. Knowing if he threw it back, it would likely blow up in his hand and take out his entire team. He did what seemed to be the only thing to do for him. He used a blanket, somewhat as a shield, pushed the grenade up against the wall and smothered it with his body. This earned Bob the highest military honor, a 2nd Silver Heart, a 2nd Purple Heart, and a Bronze Star. When Bob's military service came to a close, he began a new chapter of public service we've heard a little bit about here in Central Oregon. He always put people first. He always put other people first. And he had such a deep care and compassion for our veterans, our men and women in uniform, which is why I think naming this clinic after him is so appropriate. He told me he would tell other Medal of Honor recipients that that's the flyover we planned for a little later. Bob would tell you the Medal of Honor carries the weight of true heroes, the ones that were left behind, the ones that gave their lives so that we all could be free. Bob wanted to honor their memory. Bob's second reason was his faith. He wanted to continue to honor and serve God, who allowed him to live to tell his story. For those who had the pleasure of knowing Bob, they know that his bravery and heroism was matched only by his kindness, his warmth, and his sense of humor. I too was honored to call Bob Maxwell a friend. I'm pleased that this year the House and Senate passed the legislation naming this VA clinic after Bob. This will honor his service and commitment to this nation, this community, and his fellow service members. Now, last but not least, Margie, if you'll come up, and Darwin, if you would come up, we have a copy of the bill that the President signed into law, which I would like to present to you to have here at the clinic. And this will ensure that Bob's legacy will always carry on, and that his story and his life's work will carry on as well in the better health of our veterans. So, thank you. God bless Bob Maxwell, and God bless America.
Thank you, Congressman Walden, for being here today. And I guess this is actually a good time for us to thank you and your staff for what you've done for veterans in Oregon during your time in Congress. And we really appreciate everything that you've done for us.
Absolutely.
Now, before Mr. Goodspeed makes the final closing remarks, the Maxwell family has asked that I share these words on their behalf. The Maxwell family would like to take a minute to say thank you. Okay. The Maxwell family would like to take a minute to say thank you. For us, today is a time of remembrance and celebration. Many of you who are here have known him. For those of you who did not, we would like to say just a few words about Dad. Dad was a very godly man with a cheerful attitude. Dad had kind words for all. As Medal of Honor recipient, Dad felt he had a responsibility to represent all veterans through teaching programs and participating in all sorts of community events. We, the family, believe that on this day, which would have been his 100th birthday, that he is watching over us at the dedication and humble appreciation. And that's Bob Maxwell. Thank you. I'd like to invite Mr. Yonker to come back up to give a benediction.
Let's stand together. It is a special day that we come and we get to tell stories, remember values. Lord, our hearts get stirred. There's a pride and a sadness and an excitement all at the same time, God, as we think about Bob and Bee. We think about Bob's service and the man that he was. Father, I can't think of a better place than the clinic here, that when men and women come and receive services here, that the spirit of Bob would be given to them, Lord, a spirit of love and tenderness, that each person that leaves here would have a twinkle in their eye, knowing that there's a special place here in Central Oregon for those who have served, that there's a special place that they can be loved and cared for. We just thank you. Thank you for this afternoon, and ask that the spirit of this would carry on and we'd see it multiply throughout this area. We love you. We thank you in your name. Amen.
Mr. Maxwell family, thank you for being here, and it is certainly our honor to have this clinic named after you. Thank you for all the dignitaries who visited today. It's a true testament to what Bob Maxwell meant to this community and to his fellow veterans. It is an honor to be here with you today, and I hope this ceremony was up to your liking. I commit to you that later this year, when we have the permanent monument displayed, we will have another celebration so that the whole community can be involved in this. Mr. Maxwell was a part of this community. I will only tell one story and try to get through this. Margie called me a lot to talk about veterans issues. She works with a congressman. And Margie called me once and she was crying. And I knew at that moment that it was something very serious, because Margie doesn't cry easily. But she and I worked together to do what we needed to and what was right. This is Mr. Maxwell's community, and I'm honored to have a clinic in this community honoring him. Thank you all for coming today.